Arsenal's perfect season comes to an end at Old Trafford, Craig Forrest. I didn't see that one coming, buddy. You did call a Manchester United win.
What's that?
You did call a Manchester United win.
Yeah,
but I didn't think they'd win 3-1, man.
Well, especially after the way Arsenal started the second half. I thought you were a good value for Arsenal maybe getting a big result. And then that Odegaard miss was a big turning point, I thought.
Yeah, there were quite a few turning points in that second half. But you're right that Arsenal came out with like momentum. They just looked composed. They were controlling. You could see United kind of sitting back, playing it a little safe. Then Ten Hag turned to the substitutes bench in the 57th minute. I thought for sure we were going to see Casemiro. On comes Ronaldo. I thought, oh boy, here we go. Maybe this will open things up for Arsenal here. And to the disappointment of Ronaldo, but to the happiness and goodwill of every Manchester United fan everywhere, it ended up working in their favor.
It did. And good on Rashford as well.
Yeah.
Eriksen unselfishly passes that one over to him. He could have probably got his first goal for the club, but important for Rashford. And if he's in form, how much is Ronaldo going to play? I mean, it's been a while since we've seen Rashford look this good and this confident. And, with Antony as well, that was a really good performance, a real statement by Manchester United. And good on Ten Hag for turning things around and making some pretty interesting decisions as well. And I think Eriksen sort of played a more deeper role today, and it works. And overall, they were good.
Yeah. It's great to see Marcus Rashford score the brace there. He scored actually a brace on his debut against Arsenal. So to get 2 after having not scored in 20 games, or he'd only scored once, in 20 games. Right. And he scored 2 goals in 10 minutes against Arsenal at Old Trafford today.
Mm-hmm. But all in all, as a unit, they just look more like a team, I thought.
Yes.
So fair due. They've turned things around very, very quickly over the last few weeks and look more a unit than they have done by a long shot.
How surprised are you that Christian Eriksen has been this impactful? Because I think when we all saw the signing and even the link, we thought, really? Like, come on. Like, this guy tragically almost died a year ago. He was let go by Inter. Brentford were the only team that wanted him. Manchester United are rebuilding this new project. Ten Hag sees this guy as the important piece. And in this game alone, he was involved in all 3 goals. As you said there, he could have easily tried to finish that off himself and taken the glory, but he passed it across to Rashford for the brace. But like, what a player Christian Eriksen has been.
Yeah, no, I thought he sort of started off a little bit slowly, but I mean, and I think with the Italian situation, there's different rules in Serie A. I think with the heart conditions, I don't even think he was possible. The possibilities were there to sign back in Italy, but proved himself at Brentford. Brentford knew they weren't going to keep a hold of him if he could show any kind of form as he's shown before. And then he's just got better and better at Manchester United. Everybody knows the type of player he can be, So after getting over that initial scare, it's one thing watching him on the field. You don't have to even think about that anymore, because we certainly did for the first few games at Brentford.
I do love that our listeners do a lot of thinking for us. This is one of the great things about the Footy Prime community that we have on Twitter. Dave Starkey saying D-Row needs to be on one shelf. Product placement is key. I've moved my shoulder now, Dave Starkey. So yes, thank you for thinking for me as I was thinking about the graphics package that we have in place and running the chat with Craig Forrest. And I was nervous about his Rogers internet, but yes, D-Row is behind me. And I'm sure we'll get to TFC in a second too. I like this one from Mark Carvalho. So this is not the best situation for Portugal and Ronaldo in regards to the World Cup. Ronaldo is going to be very well rested, but simultaneously in game shape. He looked pretty damn frustrated in this game. He got more than half an hour, didn't score again. This is the longest drought for Cristiano Ronaldo since 2009. You said in the halftime show that you really liked his attitude. He stood up for the Antony goal, looked like he really, bought in. He looked pretty damn pissed off with everybody around him today because it didn't fall kindly for him. And he, again, not on the score sheet.
Yeah, it must be awfully frustrating for him. That's all, you can say about that. It's for a player like him and his involvement and when he wants to get involved, I mean, in a half an hour of football too, it's always difficult to sometimes make an impact and count on it. You just expect it with him. That's all.
And I think that's, that's an easy way to explain his frustration, and he kind of expects the service around him. They were trying. I mean, Bruno Fernandes there had that effort blocked late. Ronaldo was very much in the 6-yard box to play, and Gabriel got his leg out. Like, that's going to happen. And then also the ball from Fred that Ronaldo seemed quite upset by. Xhaka slipped right in front of the manager's box there, and that would have been embarrassing had that led to a goal. Fred grabbed it quickly, saw Ronaldo, and just put it closer to Ramsdale than he did Ronaldo. But Ronaldo was furious. Expects that to be on a platter and expects that to be in the back of the net, as you say, because he's done it countless times before.
Yeah, and he wants to finish that off and get back to scoring ways. And of course, yeah, he sets a very high standard for himself.
What do you think of Harry Maguire's standard? Alan Scholes saying Maguire didn't look good coming on, looked really slow.
Yeah, Maguire is not really fit in there at Manchester United. I'm not sure what the long-term goal is with him personally, but
I don't know what it is either. It's got to be frustrating for him too, just trying to find a new place in the team. The second he comes on, he gets the armband back from Bruno. But also, he was only on a couple of minutes, and it was Casemiro made the first mistake, and then Maguire made the mistake on the foul. I don't think he needed to take the yellow card there. That could have led to something. That was a free kick in a dangerous area for Arsenal, who are a dangerous team.
Yeah, no, they still have some questions to deal with. One of them is with Maguire. Maguire's sinking as fast as his old club, Leicester City.
Yeah, honestly. I bet you they'd love to take him back, though, if the situation presented itself in some situation.
Yeah, I know, that's true.
But you're right. Leicester really do look a mess there. Any other points on Erik Ten Hag? I really thought that they managed that right, and he really forced Arteta's hand. Right, Arteta made that triple sub, and he switched to a 4-4-2 in like 72nd minute. He brought on Emil Smith-Rowe for Odegaard. Lokonga came off, and Nketiah came on. That moved Martinelli back to like left back, but that exposed them, right? That exposed Arsenal, and after that, Rashford scored. And I just thought that Erik Ten Hag kind of showed his real managerial brain and why he was so coveted in this match alone.
Yeah, no, very good, astute substitutions, and also the mindset from Arteta is they're going for And I thought the mindset was excellent in the second half. The start of the second half was great. I mean, it was against the run of play that Man United scored, I thought. So, he'll be looking at that and be happy about the response after halftime, and disappointed with a few other things, of course. Maybe even himself, some of the changes.
Gabriel Jesus, I loved on the goal. It had fallen quite kindly for Arsenal, and where he was, I forget who the Manchester United defender was that had come over to make the challenge, and then the ball rolled out to the right, and it was an easy finish for Arsenal to put it into the back of the net. But Jesus' energy seems infectious in that team.
Yeah, it did. I mean, even at Man City when he came on, when he played there, it's the same sort of thing. And I'm glad to see it continuing on. And obviously knows Arteta really well too, before he showed up at the club. And I think they're getting exactly what they thought they would from him, which is great.
And they're getting a ton from Bukayo Saka, who was the one that finished that off. And I'd forgotten the timeline here that Ronaldo come on in the 57th minute, and then Arsenal had that goal. But then it was the triple subs that Arteta made that exposed Arsenal, and Rashford scored that second one. But 2 goals in 9 minutes from Marcus Rashford, as you say, a player who definitely needs a confidence boost and needs to show his quality. And when he has shown in the past, makes you wonder why anyone thought Cristiano Ronaldo being there was a good idea. And now, as you said, how many minutes is Ronaldo going to get if Rashford's at this level?
Yeah, not many. I don't think, if he stays at that level. That's a big question mark, though, because he kind of showing signs that he just drifts out and he goes games without really having confidence at all. So hopefully this will get him going, because there's nobody that doesn't like Rashford. I mean, he's an absolutely fantastic kid and good player. And maybe he had a lot on his plate too the last few years, off the field.
Yeah, he has had a lot on his plate, definitely.
Yeah, maybe he just needs to concentrate on his football, and maybe that's what he's doing a little bit more.
Well, it's always easier when your team is winning, and I said that at Manchester United, wasn't really a must-win fixture, but to them, it always feels like it. These marquee matchups, and they won it handsomely. So that's going to make the next at least few days a little bit easier for everybody involved, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's Arsenal's first blip, so we'll see how they react to that.
Mm-hmm. I am curious to see how they react to that. I think they'll bounce back okay.
I do too.
I do want to see actually what their fixture list proves, but as we were talking about and said in the first half, there is a steal of response and a danger about them that they haven't had in recent years, and that they really do look a different side and made this a marquee matchup. So how they respond will be big. At least they go away in the Europa League on Thursday to Zurich. They've got FC Zurich away on Thursday. Then they're home to Everton on the Sunday. Always right, that Thursday, giving you the Sunday fixtures.
Yeah.
Then they're home to PSV. And then so they've got another Sunday one away to Brentford. So a busy stretch, but given the situation that they're in, this all leads to, by the way, Saturday, October 1st is North London Derby at the Emirates. So interesting September for them then. But I think it sits favorably, the way that they started and the form that they seem to be in.
Yeah, decent Premier League fixtures there next few weeks in between those European games.
Mm-hmm. Chris Rourke saying here, with full disclosure, he is a Spurs fan, but Arsenal looked awful today. United outplayed them badly. I don't think Arsenal was awful, but very poor in comparison to how we'd seen them. I don't necessarily know if United were as perfect as a 3-1 scoreline. But Arsenal, this is the worst that maybe we'd seen them. I think exemplified by the Xhaka slip and them opening themselves up. And yeah, I think that triple sub burned Arteta. It's very rare that he seems to get substitutions like that wrong.
Mm-hmm. And then that Odegaard chance, when they had all that spell and then that fell to them, that was a big opportunity. Those are the ones you got to take.
Mm-hmm. There's also another one here about Jonathan David. It's Mark Carvalho. Since both these clubs, Arsenal and Manchester United, have been linked to Jonathan David, do you think that either of them will still have any interest by the next transfer window? If they're watching Liga right now, they should, don't you think?
Yeah, he got a couple today. I think he's got 4 on the season. He scored 2 in his opening game of the season. It just depends on how consistent he is. I mean, when you think about it, what these clubs like Manchester and Man City are looking at, I mean, look what they got. They got Haaland. Like, that's what they're looking for. And is Jonathan David that player anywhere close? No, of course he's not. So they're few and far between, obviously. That's a generational player, Haaland, I think. But it all depends on whether he's knocking in goals in France on a regular basis to get the big move.
He did get 2 on Sunday, as you mentioned, and Lille beat Montpellier 3-1. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on Jonathan David and a lot of those other Canadian prospects as well. You mentioned Teo Corbianu today on the score sheet also, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, finished one, hit the post, came back to him, knocked it in, Theo. So
there you go.
Yeah, need strikers in good form heading into the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. So to go back to the Portugal question, I think it was Mark that had asked it about the bad situation that Portugal's in. I think it's, I've always thought Fernando Santos had the hardest job in football. I do not envy this situation. A very pissed off Ronaldo, clearly. If the World Cup started tomorrow, let's say, you're getting a guy that feels he is walking into his own team and is entitled to play as much as he possibly can physically and contribute. And he feels that at his club team that he hasn't been afforded that. So in a Portugal squad where every single man in that room literally grew up watching and idolizing him, like, I can't imagine those difficult conversations. They're just not happening. At least not with Ronaldo.
No, not at all. I mean, for him, the World Cup couldn't come soon enough, I think, as far as, having something just refreshing.
Yeah.
Getting away from United for a while, although, winning is even when he's not starting is still a pretty nice environment, but changing environments and going with Portugal. I mean, look, they nearly didn't make the World Cup. So,
yeah,
that was close. That was very close at the cost of Italy, which is incredible.
It was close, but we talked too about how different this World Cup is, right in the middle of the season, splitting it up into Apertura and Clausura in every league, and the players who play themselves into form. And we've seen this with the Summer World Cups. You have a really strong spring, and all of a sudden, you've made it very difficult for the national team manager to decide where to place you. For Portugal, look at someone like Rafael Leao, who bagged 2 goals against Inter in the derby. It doesn't get much bigger as far as fixtures go in Serie A or on the continent than a fixture like that. And this is a player that I can't imagine not being on the plane. But I also think is going to be a real headache as far as trying to fit him in is concerned, because who do you leave out? Jota, Bruno Fernandes, potentially, Ronaldo. Like, there's we always say it's a good luxury to have, right? A luxury of problems when you've got a luxury of options, excuse me.
Yeah, like you say,
a problem.
Being the manager for Portugal, I mean, you're in a no-win situation unless you go on and actually win the tournament. Somewhere along the line, you're going to really screw things up, according to the fans, right?
So let me ask you this. In a situation like United, where let's say I think now, fair enough to say they're playing to the level that they would have expected. They'll be quite happy with this. They're finally there. What are the next couple of days in training like? Is it mild? Is it can you not be as intense? Because it seems like Erik Ten Hag is this very full throttle, high intensity guy all the time.
Well, the atmosphere in training is going to be great, coming off a string of really good results. So from that standpoint, he can keep building on his team. And I mean his team in the dressing room, off the field, and, build relationships and build that team spirit again as a unit. I think that's where they've partially missed out as well. So this winning is going to be easier for him to do that. But galvanizing this group, I think, has been the hardest part. That seems to be going very well. But like I say, results are obviously everything. But he seems to be doing a good job from that standpoint in the dressing room, which I wasn't sure was going to happen.
Yeah, agreed. Want to end on this to go back to our Canadian conversation. You mentioned Teo Corbianu and Jonathan David both being on the score sheet as well. Steven Eustáquio had a very good game for Porto. I watched the second half of that as they played Gil Vicente in the Liga de Portugal. Not often that I'm watching 4:00 Saturday afternoon kickoffs, not involving Benfica, but I actually did. And I'm glad I did, because Steven Eustáquio started and had a hell of a game. He was man of the match. He assisted on 2 goals, actually. One was like a header, so they technically on the board, they didn't credit him that. He ran like 12.5 kilometers. And
wow.
Yeah, he's putting in a shift, man. Still running around wearing number 47 like they don't trust him. But he's putting in a shift. And I just wanted to shout out Stephen D'Souza, who said this jam-packed schedule before the World Cup may not be ideal for the players. No, it's not. But as a footy consumer, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I agree with you, Stephen. So am I, buddy.
Yeah. And pretty soon, when people start picking up knocks players, it'll be, how long is that going to last for,
Yeah. I know.
How serious is it? Everybody's going to be on the injury watch pretty soon.
Yeah, honestly. One more here, and we'll end on this. Jonathan, with a few matches in now and the transfer window closed, which Footy Prime episode should we expect to hear the revised table predictions? Looking forward to it. This is Sharman's plan, right? I don't think we actually went through the table at the start of the season. We may have said who we thought would be relegated.
Yeah, his idea was to wait till after the transfer window. So I think that was maybe the next podcast.
Right. So if he chooses to join us again at some point, then maybe we'll get that episode.
Yeah, he's got his face in pies.
But we're gonna make you Footy Prime faithful wait an extra night, a little bit longer than usual. So sorry, Dave Starkey. I know you've got the notifications turned on and you're ready at 5 p.m. You were hoping for a pre-TFC, but because Toronto FC play CF Montreal in the 401 derby tonight, a must-win match for Toronto FC, we're gonna wait until Monday morning to do the show. So lunchtime, maybe late lunchtime, early mid-afternoon on Monday, which is a holiday on this side of the world. It's not a holiday in England, right? It's just a North American holiday.
I believe so.
Right.
Yeah. Dave Starkey get his hammock.
You can get that. Exactly.
Put the earplugs in.
Yeah. Yeah. And you should have us in your ear, Footy Prime, 4 times a week. If you've not listened to us already, you can find Footy Prime on Apple, on Spotify, on Google, on the Toronto Star. Wherever you listen to podcasts, we're there almost daily, Craig, 4 days a week. So thanks, buddy. This was fun. I'm glad you joined me because this would not have been as enjoyable for myself or the 27 people live watching on YouTube still if it was just me talking. So, you're a legend.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And as Sharman always says, listen, subscribe, follow, and keep buying newspapers. Cheers for watching.